Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. We're having a great weekend. We had our annual holiday party here yesterday at our house called a gingerbread house and gingerbread cookie contest. We had quite a few people. It was a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, I'm really looking forward to our book review today. As you know, every Sunday I review a book, and I want to start by thanking you for checking this out. Hopefully you can go back and look at all the book reports, check me out. I do a daily video, just trying to bring value, to the industry. And today I'm going to try to do that by reviewing AI in business. And I have to tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed this book. And I'll start by just prefacing it. How I came across this book was in an article by Bloomberg. You can see this is it's a funky kind of title, but Bloomberg had their top, the 49 best books to read from CEO owners of Fortune 500 companies. And from that, in going through the list, I chose AI in Business. So I chose this book right here. And it was really good. Now I'll tell you, it's a short book. It's a pretty thin book, and it has very big print, easy to read. The Audible is only 3.5 hours long, and so it's really easy to listen to. And in the book, it really just gives an overview of the world of AI, and it kind of invites you to step into it. It's not a great how-to manual. It's not super detailed. It's very high level, and I found it really refreshing. And each chapter has a different topic, and then what happens, the author then, let me see if I can find the chapters here. So each chapter has a different topic. So let's say the AI revolution, for example. And then it would give you kind of the basis of what AI is. That's chapter 1. And then it would give you kind of the foundational companies. And then as it kept building through it, like say, as you get to building a data-driven culture in chapter 6, or AI in marketing and sales in chapter 7, it would then list like the 10 or 15 leading companies using AI in marketing and sales, tell you what their product was or how they built an internal product, what it does, and how they use it. And so throughout the book, you get about 150 examples of AI products, how AI is being used out in the world today, how people are leveraging it. And then the author wraps up by giving you a peek of what's coming next. And that was great. And by the way, the author was Sebastian Forbes. This is his first book. The book is only published a few months ago, so there's no sales data on it, but it was really good. It was really good. And here's what I'm gonna do. So there's instead of just summarizing every chapter, I want to instead entice you by this listing some of the ways. Like I said, there's some of the ways AI is being used today. And as I mentioned, the author probably uses 150 case studies. I mean, it was awesome. It was so interesting. And so I'm gonna share some of those. So in chapter 1, the AI revolution, he brings up Google's DeepMind, which we all know, and then in Tesla, and so with Google DeepMind, interesting, what the product use was AI-powered cooling systems, which actually optimize energy in data centers, and that's the AI that the author highlighted. And then with Tesla, it was the autopilot and autonomous driving features, which of course now is really changing the way driving is. Chapter 2 was an overview of AI in business today. They used IBM Watson with its oncology diagnosis, providing personalized cancer treatment plans using AI-driven analytics. Blue Dot, which is it's a disease outbreak prediction model, and it forecasts infectious diseases spreading using AI algorithms. And then it highlighted Da Vinci Surgical Systems, which is AI products using robotic surgical tools. Now that's just a couple from that chapter. Every chapter was just loaded with all sorts of interesting ways AI is being used. AI in business, Stitch Fix, which is personalized clothing recommendations, which combines AI and human stylists to create fashion experiences for its customers. Netflix, of course, which we all know, which has a content recommendation engine, which is using AI to analyze viewing patterns and suggested personal content. Spotify, we all know, for personalized music recommendations, can recommend your song list and playlist based on your preferences and listening history. And they go into it goes to Netflix and Spotify really deeply. It's fascinating how they built those technologies and how it's constantly studying the user to better serve the user. Chapter 4 which was aligning AI with business goals. Here some of the examples in this chapter were UiPath, that's UiPath, which is a more of a RPA system. And in the book, in the first chapter, when he's explaining artificial intelligence, he included, it includes RPA, it's machine learning, RPA, deep learning are the three tenets of artificial intelligence. But anyway, so it's a robotic processing automation RPA company. This is UiPath, which automates repetitive administrative tasks like invoicing, processing to increase efficiency. Zendesk, which probably all know, which is has AI-driven customer support tools, offering automated ticket management and 24/7 chatbot interactions. So they can be like your help desk. They provide software for your help desk and chatbots. Chapter 5, choosing the right AI technologies. Here, Sebastian highlighted Data Robot, which is a predictive analytics platform, and it has automation around predictive models for business decision making, which is really interesting. Also, Chapter 5 was Hugging Face, which is a natural language processing tools. It provides open source libraries to build AI-based text processing solutions. So Hugging Face is a AI text platform. Chapter 6 is, this was really interesting. In Chapter 6, the case study was Red Roof Inn. And what Red Roof Inn does is it studies flight cancellations and then uses AI to target customers in that specific geo area with accommodation ads. So and what's happened and where they do that, where the cities where they have these, say there's weather or whatever, there's a bunch of cancellations, they just flood that marketplace with ads, and it's like double their occupancy in those cities. Really interesting. IBM Infosphere, which is an information analyzer, which provides data governance and quality tools for businesses. There's a lot of really good tools that do internally on how to create efficiency. Trifecta Wrangler, which is a data cleaning tool. This simplifies data wrangling to prepare databases for AI analysis. One of the big challenges in AI is duplications in the data. When you get duplications of the data, it really corrupts the data. Products like Trifecta Wrangler clear out those imperfections so you get better data. Darktrace, which is another kind of it's a tool. It's an enterprise immune system. It monitors network traffic to detect and respond to cyber threats in real time. Avasdia, AVASDI, it builds insights for healthcare and finance. It applies machine learning to optimize workflows and detect anomalies. It's really fascinating. There's so many. I mean, there was literally 150 different AI tools and companies listed in this. Talked about Amazon, about predictive inventory management, how critical that is to their success. Is not only to have the right inventory in the right places, but to predict what people are going to buy tomorrow, and so that that's how they base what their inventory levels are. Really fascinating. Ocado, OCADO, which is a robotic automation in warehouses. And so what it does is it goes at light speed, like we have a fulfillment center. It goes to light speed through the fulfillment center. It grabs all the stuff, and then it gives it for a human being to pack. But it's super fast, very cost effective, interesting. Getting into marketing and sales, this chapter they listed probably the most in this chapter, many chapters, probably 15 different technologies listed in this chapter. For what we do, I would start here. I would start in chapter 8. I would 100% start in chapter 8 because you're gonna be exposed to so many great marketing companies and opportunities. I'm not going to list them all. I'll list the ones that were highlighted in case studies. So each chapter, He conversationally talks about companies and just brings them up. Usually it's bulleted point, but then he actually has a specific section called case studies where you can just read a deeper dive into what that company is doing. And this one was Marketo, which has marketing automation tools. It analyzes customers' data, optimizes marketing strategies that enhance engagement. What that means is it studies the customer and then it creates specific marketing relevant to that customer. Like I said, you got to read chapter 8 because that's a really powerful chapter. They also mentioned Starbucks, and Starbucks uses AI to tailor specific promotions to the customer based on their purchasing habits and trying to get them to come to the stores more often. We all know that because we all have Starbucks. While chapter 8, that is AI and marketing and sales, is probably the most applicable to us, chapter 9 was fascinating. AI and human resources. Of course, they talked about Workday, talent management tools, which is really all about enhancing employee engagement. And then Intello, which is super interesting. It's AI for recruitment. It matches candidates with suitable roles based on their skills and experiences. But here's what's interesting. I don't remember which company this is that they talked about for recruiting. They have AI recruiting that actually goes and searches the web for your candidate, and it does it by reading through tons of social media, and it's just trying to find your candidate. They haven't even applied to you yet. You just build, here's who I'm looking for. The AI goes out into the web and finds that person and then creates an outreach to it to invite them to apply for a job. Isn't that fascinating? And then the same chapter in AI and human resources, they have AI now that is it video captures, so it films an interview, and then it gives you analytics on the person's body language and hidden subtle things that you might not have caught. And it will give you a report just based on the images on how that candidate fits what you're looking for. Is that unbelievable? Really, really fascinating. Chapter 10 was AI and financial management. We, of course, are already familiar with this because we would be at the heart of AI and finance. I mean, we use all the technology we're using today would be fit into this. They talk about American Express specific for fraud detection. How all these credit companies, if my credit card's used, in California to buy breakfast, and 10 minutes later in Kansas to buy, a prescription at a local pharmacy, they know there's something wrong. Well, that's AI with tons of data, just constantly watching your stuff, and so that's fantastic. And then, of course, PayPal, another uses massive AI for fraud detection. Chapter 11 is with ethical considerations in AI. I found this case study amazing because you know what it talked about? It talks about Volkswagen. And you remember how that scandal Volkswagen had about 10 years ago or 15 years ago had to do with their emissions control? What they did is they installed like an AI technology into their cars so that the car would know when it was being tested for emissions. And when it was being tested for emissions, then the AI would make the car run differently so that it would get a high score for the emissions. But what would happen is that by creating that artificial high scores, it also brought down the productivity of the car. I mean, it didn't work as well, and so it would only do it when they hooked up the machine to read the emissions. It would alter how the car ran, get to the high score, and then when you're off the machine, it would then go back to normal operating. And somehow that was discovered, of course, but that was fascinating. I knew that they had emission issues, that their emissions were not as good as they said, but I didn't know how they didn't. I didn't know that they used AI that simply tricked the testing system. I thought that was clever. They said it was underhanded. I mean, it's bad. Future in AI in business. Of course, they talked about OpenAI and generative AI models. Kind of talked about what's coming next, which is great. Also talked about Boston Dynamics, which is robotics, and how these humanoid robotics are coming, and robotics that can do complicated tasks, complicated thinking, and can do the repetitive type of work. So that was the book. That's just a taste of the book. I'm not doing it justice, in that the biggest thing is it was just really enjoyable to read. It was fun to read, and it was, it gave me energy. I was excited reading it, and it made AI seem super approachable. And while the author did give some, a bit of a roadmap about how to start and what to do and how to use it, but it wasn't quite, the how-to manual. But it was very easy to digest. I recommend it. So thank you. Thank you. I can't remember where did I get this from. Thank you for Bloomberg for recommending it. I'll be reading other books off that list. If you guys looked at the Bloomberg top books to read, this probably wouldn't be your first choice, but it was mine. With that, thanks for checking this out. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Check me out on other socials. I do a lot of posting on LinkedIn, do a video every day. I appreciate you being here. Have a great weekend. Thank you.